Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Glow Code podcast. This episode is an exciting one and one that I have just been chomping at the bit to share because we have officially announced the gender of our baby. We are having a baby boy, and I could not be any more excited than I am. It is just so surreal to be thinking that in a few months we'll have a little boy, and I've been dreaming about him lately, just seeing his eyes and his face so clearly. And this is actually a very refreshing change from what I felt earlier in my pregnancy, where I actually wasn't convinced that we were having a boy. I felt very connected to my spirit baby girl, but we are going to get into that story in this episode. This episode is just going to be chill, laid back, and sharing the story of our gender reveal for ourselves and how my spirit baby boy let me know that he was on the way. And maybe this will help some of you guys listening to connect to your spirit babies and to strengthen that connection, whether you want to be a mom in the future, if you are currently pregnant, or if you are expanding the family that you have already started. Okay, so let's get right into it. So firstly, going into this episode, I actually feel very confident because I've been doing a lot of pregnancy breath work. So I don't feel nearly as out of breath as a lot of other women, I feel like, say they are at this point. I am 20 weeks today, actually, at the point of recording and uploading this episode. And I started pelvic floor therapy at 14 weeks to address just chronic issues that I've always had while also prepping for labor. And she gave me breath work to do, which has been amazing. I can walk for an hour and not get short of breath. So anyway, if I do need to take a pause, it is pregnancy related. All right, let me start from the very, very beginning. I started connecting with my spirit babies in 2020 when I first began to learn how to tap into my intuition and apply that to the things that I desired in my life. Motherhood was always my number one desire, and learning how to hone in on my intuition really brought up the question of, can I apply this to connecting with my future children? And you absolutely can, and that is what I started to do. I have the full story on that in previous episodes if you want to go through and listen and hear about my journey. So I've always known that there is a spirit baby boy around, but he has always had a very quiet energy. It's a very subtle energy. It's not very loud. It's just very laid back, very flowy. And the girl's energy is very loud, very expressive. So she was always more inclined to communicate with me and send me signs, whereas the boy has just been a slow progression. I do have a third spirit baby, but that soul kind of feels a little iffy with if they're gonna be a boy or a girl, so I kind of just let them do their thing for now. So then in 2021, I began to connect with him a little bit more, and I recognized that he had a very grounding energy. So what I would do was I would call him into my space whenever I would do a workout or anything body related, because he would just make me feel extremely grounded and supported and give me that encouraging but gentle motivation that I needed. So I've always leaned on his energy when I just needed to feel held and loved and supported, whereas the girl is like the one to come through when I'm doing sessions with other people and things like that. So that's how my connection with him began. And then in September 2023, I had an early loss. And right when that loss happened, I felt such a strong presence of a spirit baby boy. And I suspected that it was him. And I actually texted my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, and I was like, I think the boy is going to come first. Like, something in me just felt that would happen. And then I had that feeling for a couple days, and all of a sudden it just went away. Now, what ended up happening was a few months later, we were told by my aunt and uncle that they were expecting their second child, a boy, and their due date was going to be a couple of weeks after when mine would have been. So then I thought, oh, maybe I was picking up on their boy, like maybe that's who was coming through that I was feeling. So anyway, press forward again, and his energy just comes through in random moments, like just waking up in the morning, feeling him around, and then feeling complete absence the next day. That went on for about two more years. And then at not the beginning, no, I don't think it was the beginning of 2025. I think it was like April, May-ish 2025. I wanted to create a brand name for my books, for this podcast that I knew I wanted to make, and just any of my creative projects. It was just really calling to me to have this name to represent my work and my persona. So it was morning, and I just set the intention with the universe that I would be shown a sign for what this name needs to be. I went to my kitchen window, I opened the curtains, and there was a mourning dove right outside the window. And that is how I came up with Kate Dove. Now, the significance of the dove is that when I did feel that boy's energy right after the loss, he told me that doves were his way of connecting with me. So it also felt like a green light from him to take on the name of Kate Dove and just let it feel flowy and freeing, and also kind of like include him in that. And I really loved that. I loved that there would be some sort of connection between my work and my spirit babies, because even though romance and femininity might seem like a whole separate area of life, I really do feel like they intertwine, because the core is devotion and nurturing and all these feminine qualities, right? So that happened. And then at the end of June, this was so random, but there were these two pure white doves that just started hanging around our house, and we have no clue where they came from. Now, from what I've heard, mourning doves are natural. They can be found in the wild, but pure white doves, like the doves that we know, are bred to be that way, and they're used in weddings and things like that. Like, they're released and then they kind of just, go off and do their thing. So we had these two white doves in our front yard, and we had no clue where they came from. Now, what's interesting is that these doves would not hang out anywhere else. Like, it was to the point where we had neighbors knocking on our door asking if the doves were our pets, because they just stayed in our yard and around our house. And the funny thing is, like, I didn't even really think about it at first. Like, I didn't even really perceive that to be a sign from my spirit baby boy or anything like that, because at this point I was really playing with that fun, flirty, sassy romance author era that I was in, and I had taken a break from doing spirit baby work and intuitive work. So this was just like a really cool thing for me, and I would go outside and take little videos of them, and they would just be chilling in the yard. So I didn't even really think about it then too. So yeah, that happened, and then October came around and we conceived. And I want to say at about 7 weeks, I kind of suspected that the baby could be a boy, even though I was really feeling that girl energy and she was sending me signs left and right. But again, it was just so subtle, and like I would feel him and then I wouldn't feel him, whereas the girl was just always around. Now, we ended up getting an early ultrasound scan because of that early loss. I just wanted to make sure that everything was okay. I just wanted to check on everything, and we got a 3D image of the baby, which was so cool. So I had that on my refrigerator, and every time I would look at it or pass by it, I would think, that's our little guy. Also, the way that I felt this pregnancy coming was totally in line with his energy and the way that he shows up for me, because when I had the early loss, I really think that was the girl just coming in for a short amount of time to help me grow and teach me things and kind of reset my body and my energy. And with that experience, I was having dreams. It felt like something literally dropped into my body. It was just very dramatic. Whereas when this pregnancy came along and I didn't know I was pregnant yet, I just had the feeling for 2 weeks of like something big is coming. It just felt like there was a huge wave or ocean on the other side of like this wall that just needed to come through. And I think I told my husband too, like it feels like the dam is about to burst. Not in a bad way, like in a good way, because I could tell, you know, if you're connected to your intuition, like, you know, and you learn how to differentiate between certain feelings. Now, I also knew something big was coming because 3 to 4 months before that, so around the time when the doves came by, I had this feeling like we were going to have a quantum leap. I've had that feeling in the past before, and every time I get this sensation in my body that just like sticks around for days and weeks, about 3 to 4 months later, something really big happens. So there were just all these building blocks leading up to the pregnancy and to this little boy coming in. So then December rolls around, and I'm thinking that we're going to get our NIPT test and we're going to find out the gender of the baby for Christmas, and we're going to do a cute little Christmas gender reveal. Well, that is not what happened. So I was like driving myself crazy. I was like, I gotta know. And we weren't gonna get our NIPT test until like 13 weeks, like around that point. And they were gonna do that along with one of the early anatomy ultrasounds that are done. So I was like, you know what? I want to get a sneak peek gender test. At the time when I made this decision, I didn't know that there were so many mixed reviews and love and hate for this company, but I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go for it. But my intuition was telling me to wait until I was 10 weeks pregnant to do it. My ego took over. I was in a rush. I booked for the next day at the same clinic that did our early ultrasound. Long story short, somehow the kit was not activated. So I was given the opportunity to wait again, but instead I was speaking with the owner, and she was like, I can get you guys back in tonight free of charge. We can do express shipping, yada yada. And I was like, okay, sure, like cool, we're coming back in. So again, I didn't listen to my intuition. So then that happens, and I'm on TikTok, and I'm watching videos about sneak peek, and my heart just starts to drop, and I get so anxious because I see all these reviews of people getting wrong results and sneak peek being horrible companies. So now I'm like, man, did I just put myself through more stress? And my intuition was telling me that it would be 99% accurate. So then I was questioning, well, is my intuition accurate? And it was a whole thing. The next night we get our sneak peek results back, and we sit down, and I set up the camera, and I'm like making it this whole thing for me and my husband. Again, at this point, I had felt the boy, like I knew he was there, but the girl was so much louder. We clicked on the little video that sneak peek gives you. They do like a countdown, and you know, they make it cheesy. And the test says it's a boy. Now my husband is like so excited, and you know, he is so pumped about it, and I am just stunned. Well, I had a major crash out. I was sobbing and crying, and I couldn't sleep that night. It had nothing to do with the idea of having a boy. It was the fact that I felt disconnected from him. I didn't feel as connected to him as I did with the girl. And I was like, I haven't even picked out a name for him. And there was also some pride in there because I want to say about 90% of our family was like, you're going to have a boy first. And I was kind of in denial of that on an ego level because the girl just had that loud energy. So I was having these thoughts of like, my family picked up on it before I did, and it was just a whole thing. So I started to kind of put everything together, put these signs together, and I started to think, you know what, this actually makes sense. There was about a 4-week period of time between getting that sneak peek result and getting our NIPT test. It might have been 5 weeks, actually. I decided not to do a Christmas gender reveal because I was suspicious from doom scrolling on Instagram and TikTok about sneak peek and going through every single comment and every single Reddit thread. But I did confide in part of my family, so they were already aware that we got a sneak peek boy result, but I didn't want to make a big stink about it until we got our NIPT. Now, what ended up happening was at the 10-week mark, when my intuition told me I should have gotten a sneak peek, that is when I really started to feel this boy's energy come through more frequently and strongly. Like, it wasn't just I would feel him for a day and then nothing. It was like I could wake up in the morning and feel him around me for a few days, and then he would kind of just float back out, and then he would float back in, and it was just like his energy feels like a gentle ocean wave at the beach is how I would describe it. And by the time we got our NIPT test done, I was kind of like I would be disappointed if it weren't a boy. I had the whole crash out, and then I ended up feeling him at the 10-week mark when my intuition told me to do the sneak peek, which probably would have avoided the crash out. But by the time we got our NIPT, I was just really feeling him. I felt more connected to him. So then when we got our results, it was in the morning. I woke up and I just had the feeling like we had our results and it's a boy. Because what I was seeing from sneak peek videos that people had made was like sneak peek giving them one result and then NIPT giving them another, and then people getting confused and it being a whole thing. So I wake up my husband and I'm like, hey, we got our NIPT results. Like, let's look at the other stuff first that they test for just to make sure he's low risk, which he is. And then I was like, then we can see the gender. So then we opened it and it did confirm that he is a boy, and I had tears of joy this time instead of crash out tears, and it was a very beautiful morning. So then we told family, and I did want to do a gender reveal with some of my family who live about an hour away, but we have had snow every single weekend for like the past 2 months. So I was just like, you know what? Let's just do a FaceTime. We can get everyone together and we can just do it like that because I'm impatient. I don't know when we're going to see everyone. So let's just do it this way. So we did that over the weekend. Now everybody knows. I posted about it a couple of days ago. So now it is out there in the world. I forgot to mention the other thing that made me suspect that it could be the boy was that I've always said he has chill energy, and in my first trimester, everyone would check up on me. We have a lot of family around, and I know not everyone has such a strong support group, so I felt very taken care of. So everyone would check up on me constantly and be like, how are you feeling? And I would be like, we're chilling. And it would just be little things like that would make me suspect that it was the boy. But yeah, we have our anatomy scan next week. And I'm so excited to see him again because at the last ultrasound that we did for the early anatomy scan, as soon as the ultrasound tech put what is it called? I don't know what it's called, but you know, the device that they use. I'm sure I'll think of the word after I record this. He had his arms moving as if he was swimming, and it was the cutest thing in the world. He was so active. He was so wiggly and squiggly. We were calling him our little wiggle worm. And yeah, he was really giving cancer boy energy. I'm due during cancer season, and so it was just funny to see him look like he was swimming as soon as that ultrasound device is put on. So I'm curious to see how he will be at the next one. And also there's a very real chance that he could end up being a Leo because I'm due about a week before cancer season ends, and it's very common for first-time moms to go past their due date. So he could end up surprising me and being a Leo, but he definitely has so many of those cancer qualities. He has been kind of tapping in there lately. He loves dinner time. I don't know what it is about dinner time, but I will just feel him tapping away when I eat dinner or right afterwards. So he kind of has a little routine too, which I think is super cute. So that is the story of how he found out and how he told me that he was on the way. And I've been keeping track of my dreams lately too because he has been coming through in them. And just this week, I was asking him to send me an image of a white dove or to send a mourning dove in front of my house to confirm that this name that I had in mind for him was the best fit for him. Because I thought we had a name picked out. Like, we started calling him this name, and then I just had this feeling that it wasn't him. It didn't really match or embody this energy that he has. He has a very old money Italian boy spending his European summer on a yacht energy, and he is inheriting Mediterranean genes. He's going to be getting Greek genes for me, and then my husband has some Italian genes, so it does make sense for him. But yeah, I asked him to send me an image and to have that sent to me in 24 hours if the name felt aligned for him. I went all day without seeing any signs, and then I went to sleep, woke up, went to go pee, fell back asleep, and I had this dream of walking along a trail and being surrounded by a flock of white doves. And in this dream, like, I was walking down the trail, and then I was walking back, and on my way back, one of the doves literally started chasing me. So I don't know if he's just really excited about this name, but I'm going to take it as confirmation, and trust what I am being shown, because it seems like when I need to receive something from him, he shows me and he communicates with me, which is so different from before when I felt disconnected from him. And last weekend, I was also telling my grandma, like, I don't know, I feel like I might have to see him to name him. And that night, I dreamt of him and I saw his face. So I think sometimes I have these thoughts where I say something and his soul is just like, okay, don't worry, I'm gonna take care of it and we will be good. That wraps up today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed listening and just following along on the journey. I do have a couple of announcements. First of all, the Spirit Baby Diaries book has been revamped and published with 11 audios that are paired with the book. So if you go to the link down below and you purchase the ebook, you get the links to all those audios and meditations. The book includes a chapter on signs and connecting with your spirit baby. Oh my god, that's so funny. I felt him move as I'm talking about this. He's like, yeah, read it. So there is a chapter in there on signs, so that way you can learn to communicate with your spirit baby in a way similar to how I have been, along with chapters on parenthood, womb healing, the energetics of the trimesters, which leads me to the second announcement of the release of the Intuitive Girl's Guide to a No BS First Trimester. I have put together a guide of over 50 pregnancy symptoms with their energetic roots and emotional ingredients to heal them, so that way you can thrive instead of survive during your pregnancy. And announcement number 3 is we have a release date for the next romantasy book that I am writing called Blue Siren. There's a lot of blue in my world right now. Blue Siren is a loose, spicy retelling of The Little Mermaid, and it is releasing May 12th. So if you want to get on top of that, add it to your TBR, you can click the link down below and pre-order the book. Alright guys, I know I kind of hit you with a lot there, but those are the 3 announcements and you can find the links down below. I will see you all in the next episode of The Glow Code.